How's it going, folks? So I got a viewer request video here for y'all today. I'm going to be checking out the band Holy Knights, and the name of this song is Gate Through the Past. Very curious for this. I like the name of the band. It's pretty tight. But like I said, there's a viewer request. This song was requested by this ranger right here. Thank you. And without further ado, let's check it out. Rangers, go.
Even was love, once beauty and spell, and even
Wow. First thing I will say is that it's a little bit rough around the edges, in some spots more than others. Even like production aside, of course the production could be a little bit more polished, but again, I'm always hesitant to really criticize the production of a song, unless it just really is egregious to where it kind of takes away from the song itself, which I don't feel is the case here. The production, it could be better, but it doesn't like ruin the song or anything like that, because production wise it can be very difficult to get like top notch studio equipment and recording and all that good stuff, so bands can only do what they can, and here again, like I said, I don't think that detracts from the song. It makes it sound like older than it looks like this song released in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. But it definitely sounds older than that, I think, because of the production. But that also lends itself a little bit to kind of just that 2000s feeling of just how the song is itself, but also even production-wise. So, I dig it. Anywho, I kind of digress a bit. But, yeah, so it's a little rough around the edges, but I definitely think there's a gem here. There's a lot of really, really cool stuff about this song. That bridge in particular was amazing. All of the guitar solos in there were sick. I love when things took a real neoclassical turn. That was awesome. The keyboard in there in the bridge was great. The bass even had a little moment to shine there in the bridge. The bridge, it was just awesome. All the different movements throughout the bridge, from the solos into more of kind of just rhythmic kind of music, into other solos, into neoclassical, it was just really, really great. And then from that point on, too, things smoothed out a bit, which I'll get to shortly. So anywho, first things first, yeah, I mean, when the song first started out, it's like, the guitars already, have a nice riff and things like that. You can tell that the keyboard's going to be involved in this song. It's kind of adding nice tones in the background for some of it. Other spots, it's kind of more prevalent there. So you kind of get the intro and all that stuff, kind of setting the stage. And then you get into the verses, which I thought the verses were nice. It has a nice rhythm to the verses and the vocal melody and all that good stuff. So, I mean, you definitely can vibe with that. I was digging that. And then you kind of get that nifty little in-between moment where the guitar and like the keyboard kind of pick up speed a little bit. And it has this really neat kind of melody thing going, just musically. And then the verses kind of continue. And then if I'm not mistaken, you get that little melody thing again. And then you get to what I think is like the most glaring issue with the song. That then it goes to that thing where it's like the keyboard's like bum 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 bum, something like that, and it just comes out of nowhere. It's like you have this progression of like kind of energy going throughout this song, and then it all of a sudden just feels like, imagine you're just running full speed, or even just driving in the car, really fast, which is like, how the song's going. It's moving at a decent pace and all that stuff. So you're cruising, and then all of a sudden you hit like a big patch of like mud. So it's like you just an instant kind of like slow down and stop. That's kind of how this feels. It's just really, really jarring when that comes in. And then even transitioning from that right into the chorus, I feel like takes away from the chorus a little bit too, because even that transition's a little odd. Just that little bum 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 bum. It feels like it was just almost thrown in there. And even that little thing that I was talking about before that, kind of in between the verses, where it like picks up the pace a little bit and all that, it's just instrumental. Even that just kind of feels a little bit thrown in, but that could kind of work. But it's mainly that other thing. And to me, I was thinking about it, and it's like, I feel like there's two ways to kind of like rectify that. Either keep the guitar going at like a nice rhythm with the riffs and all that stuff while that bump 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 thing is like happening, so it like keeps the pacing up, but it still allows them to do that little tune, that they wanted to do in the song. Because I mean, it could be neat, but just the way everything gets stripped away and it's like kind of just that, and then the drums kind of just, and that's about it. Just slows everything to a complete halt. So I think if the music kind of continued with the guitars and the drums, the double kicks or, whatever, just a nice brisk pacing while that tune is happening, that would help bridge the gap a little bit more and help it to not feel as jarring. Or secondly, just remove it entirely. And I think that would almost work even better. And I'll talk a little bit about that again shortly once I get to the end, because I'd want to talk about that. So then you get that chorus, which at first I was like, I feel like this is kind of a cool chorus, but I'm just thrown off because of that little bump, 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 bump thing. Anywho, so moving right along, get to the bridge. I've already kind of talked about the bridge, how awesome it was. And everything was smoothed out from the bridge on, because once the bridge ends, it's like you kind of get like the verses again, but then it goes straight from the verses into the chorus. And seamless. And then the chorus really got to shine there. Like everything just worked together wonderfully right there. I was like, yes, this chorus is pretty awesome. So yeah, it's just all about bridging that gap between like the verses and the chorus. It would just enhance everything by just making it smoother. Because again, after the bridge, when you get those verses and it goes straight to, I was worried that as soon as the verses started again, I was like, we're gonna get that little thing, and then the bump, 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 bump again before. But no, none of that. It was just straight from the verses into the chorus, and that was when, in my head, I was like, yes, that was like a eureka moment. Like, boom, that's boom, there it is, if you will. That just worked. That was the spark, and then the chorus just sounded better because of it, and everything just worked together. Awesome. So personally, I think what would benefit the song best is after the very first verse, and you get that little thing, which was neat, like the first time I heard it, but it kind of started to feel like it was just filler after that. So do that once, and then you get another verse, because they wanted to have two verses there at the beginning of the song. So have the first verse, have that little thing, have the second verse, and have that second verse just lead right into the chorus. And then maybe after that you have another verse just leads right back into the chorus, bridge, verse, right into chorus. So you get that thing once at the beginning of the song after the first verse. You completely remove the bump, 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 bump. And I think that would just streamline the whole thing. It would shine a lot brighter as a whole, and it would be a gem, because I really think there's a gem within the song. It just needs to be polished up a bit so it can really shine. It's kind of covered, in some dirt and wear and tear and whatever currently. But, you chip away some of that, you polish that bad boy up, and this could be a gem, because the musicianship was really cool. Loved the riffs, loved the neoclassical stuff, the keyboard, the drums did a great job, the bass, and the vocals. I like the vocals a lot too. He's got a good range, nice delivery, all that. So definitely a lot to like here. Just needs a little bit of polishing up. But again, I'll say it again. There's a gem to be found in there. There be a gem in here, But you just gotta sift away some stuff and find the gem. Anywho, that's that. Let me know, folks, in the comments down below what you think of this song. Let's talk about it. I'll catch you next time. Ranger out.